Welcome to today's video. Listening to my tunes again. Okay, so today's video is on nutrient timing. I figured it's. Oh, before I jump into the video, I have to talk about my hair. Okay, I love my braids. I get braids like, I don't know, pretty often. Last time it was in a bun. And this time this is platinum blonde. In case anyone wants to say it's white, it's platinum blonde. And yes, there's a difference. Get it right to get it tight. Okay? Okay. So nutrition timing, I'd like to demystify the information on nutrient timing in today's video. How does this tie into working out? Well, without food, you ain't got nothing. That's double negative. You're a double negative. So you need to, eat to see change, whether it be to lose weight or to gain weight. If you want to gain weight, you obviously have to eat more. If you want to lose weight, you obviously have to eat less within reason. You could technically burn or lose weight eating more. That's possible. That's called reverse dieting. When you're dieting for extended periods of time, your body adapts, and then all of a sudden your body's in a state where it's asking for, it's in a state of like it needs to survive. And so you reverse yourself out of a low diet to see continuous change. That's kind of what you do if you hit a plateau, so to speak. So nutrition timing, there's a couple things that I wanted to touch up on. There's a thing called the nutrition hierarchy, which is the hierarchy of importance. I'm just going to break it up into like three main factors. The first one is to talk about sustainability and adherence. So you want to pick something that you can adhere to or like you can sustain for X amount of time. So if you're trying to diet for 6 months, you want to choose a diet that fits that your persona, your character, your lifestyle, your personality. If you're a little bit more on the neurotic side, meaning you're maybe a little bit more anxious or depressed or what have you, then obviously you're gonna have a little bit more. Your needs are gonna be a little different than somebody that is not. So there's a lot of kind of factors to consider when you're trying to reach a goal with your food. So when it comes to that, you want to first think of nutrition and diet as not trying to something that you're just using to get to your goal, because sure, you'll reach you will reach your goal weight and you'll get the body that you want, but it won't stay, and then over the long term that's going to hurt you. So you might as well do it right the first time to get it right, or to get it tight, right? So that's adherence. You want to make sure that you're picking something that you can stick to. So if you, for example, do really good eating in the morning, eating, I don't know, 2 hard-boiled eggs, and you can do that until 2 p.m. and you can eat another kind of small meal, and then eat another meal at 5, another meal at 8, or what have you, and that fits your lifestyle, then why would you reinvent the wheel, right? You want to stick to something that fits your lifestyle. I will cover a little bit about intermittent fasting here in a second, because if you do go long periods of time not eating, that can get into inhibiting protein synthesis, and then it can actually cause muscle breakdown. So you want to be careful with fasting too long too often. If you're trying to get leaner or you're trying to improve your athletic performance, especially if you're into athletic performance based sports. Obviously this is a very general video, but like for example in bodybuilding, if you have a physique goal, then you have to be very mindful of the times you're eating, how often you're eating. If you're into performance-based sports like soccer or gymnastics or jiu-jitsu or basketball or football or hockey, those are sports that are performance-based. So obviously, like let's say, for example, you have a game later that day, then you want to time your nutrition so that you can optimize your performance and not throw up during the game, right? And ultimately have mental performance too, because those are sports that require mental performance. So the goal is to set up a diet that's sustainable to see change. How do you do that? Well, you just kind of have to experiment and see what your habits are currently. What are the good habits? What are the bad habits? And try to optimize your good habits and try to find foods and times. What time periods during the day are you available to eat? Once you kind of find that, then it's much easier to create a plan that you can stick to. The goal is always to be more consistent with your diet approach, because consistency will lead to, well, habits leads to consistency, habits and consistency that will lead to adherence, and then adherence will lead to more results. So if you're not adhering to the proper diet plan, you will never see results, right? So that's really important to do. I'm going to touch it very briefly into you can actually read this about it. I'm going to write a Substack if I didn't make it yet, but you can click below. I'll update it. I'm going to have everything there, just a little bit more kind of in detail. But as far as what's called peri-workout, which is basically like before, during, and after your training. So, for example, in like physique building, if you're into aesthetics, there's some people that consume food during their workout to keep the pump up, and the theory is behind that if you keep the pump up, then you can increase blood flow and thus build more muscle tissue. I think that's a load of ish. I kind of I'm a little bit more unorthodox. So, but if you're in, again, going back to what I said earlier, the performance-based sports, or just even life in general, like if you're going to go gardening later that day, or you want to go pick up your kids, or you want to go do XYZ, then you want to be mindful of the foods that you're eating before, during, and after, to optimize your physique goals. As far as pre-workout with nutrition timing, I have found that typically it varies person to person. When I used to work with clients, there would be people where they would eat, an hour before they came and saw me, and that worked out fine. But then there were other people that they, would eat, 3 hours before me, and it just kind of varies person to person. The main takeaway with pre-workout nutrition is making sure that you have enough kind of sugar in your blood. I think that, I see that people tend to make it dizzy when they are training too hard on low calorie or low sugar, low carbs. So that's something to be mindful of, and depending on the type of training. So if you're doing something more like power-based stuff, like powerlifting, or like power-based sports, like, again, like I said earlier, like football or wrestling or jiu-jitsu or basketball or soccer, okay, those have a lot of power in them, then you want to optimize your carbohydrates. But technically, you can optimize your fats too. Again, I think it really just depends on the season, but it doesn't hurt to kind of experiment and see what works for you. I will say though, you don't want to get into foods that are super high in sugar and really low in nutrients, unless you're really going to go hard in your training and you're going to do a lot of cardio, a lot of energy output, lots of energy taken out of you. Then carbs, like some people do gummy worms in powerlifting, or like lots of sugar, like donuts, before their workout. That's not uncommon, and I personally I wouldn't encourage that behavior, but that is definitely something that you can kind of do and eat before your training. Some people even just do like pineapple juice. I know a lot of bodybuilders do pineapple juice pre and during their training. And then obviously after your training, I think it's really important to make sure that you're eating after you work out within, I would say about within a 30 to 1.5 hour range, maybe up to 2 hours, half hour range. That's maybe a little bit pushing it, but I think that there's a lot of conflicting information on this topic. I feel that it depends, again, on your goal. If you're trying to be a physique athlete, you're trying to optimize your physique and trying to build a nice built rounded look, then yeah, you're going to want to eat within that frame after your training. But if you're not, you're just like, you're just a performance-based sport person, like the soccer, basketball things, then, you know, I have found that it can apply the same thing from bodybuilding, but ultimately it just depends on how much how much you were depleted from your training. So in other words, how hard did you go in your training? Because obviously your training should always be catered specific to your goals. So if your goal is to just lose weight, look good in a bikini, then that's going to be different. Your training is going to look a little different than somebody that's trying to be a basketball star, or somebody that's trying to be a boxing star or a football star, So it just really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. But the main takeaway, I think, from this video that I want to kind of take home is that there's a lot of factors that you have to consider to maximize your effort in your training, and prepare your body before and after. Because it's one thing to just kind of go and just do whatever you want at the gym. It's another thing to prepare and to making sure that you're eating the foods to optimize your performance and not really waste your time. So I'm all about being efficient. So you want to be efficient with your time and efficient with the people you're with. Don't be wasting time and doing things that will get you closer to your goals. Okay, so that's a little bit about nutrition timing. I was real serious in this whole video, but that's all right. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click below for more information. If you're interested in a program by me, you can email me. If you're interested in a consult call, feel free to click the link below. I do offer that. If you have any questions, you could do a consult call. I'm more than happy to do that. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and make sure you like the video for my braids.